Welcome to another exciting weekly show for On Our Mission Matters show that we host on Twitter Spaces now. Every Thursday at 4 p.m. PST, we put together a topic. This week's topic is what's the best business development strategy you've come across? And so we vary it up. Mission Matters for all of you tuning in and are listening to us for the first time. My name is Chirag, and I'm one of the co-founders of Mission Matters. We are a media platform focused on the needs of entrepreneurs, executives, experts. Our mission is to help amplify your purpose or their purpose so that we can inspire and educate future generations. And so the way that we go about doing this is we have a thought leadership platform. In short, we have a book publishing where we publish nearly 250 authors in a wide variety of books. We have our podcast agency and podcast network where we manage, I think, nearly just about 200 podcasters across our network. And we also have an advertising agency division in our company where we do lead gen and help individuals, companies build up their pipelines to increase their business opportunities. And so we put together these topics. We invite our authors, our podcasters, our clients, our friends to come join us every single week. And what we'll do is a go around. It's more like a fireside chat. And so we keep this very friendly. Adam, my counterpart, is going to just moderate. And then we'll start off with some intros. So with that, Adam, I'll pass it off to you.
All right. Thank you, Chirag. And great to see everybody here and great topic. So what's the best Biz-Dev strategy you've come across? Always interested to hear what people are doing, and we'll tell you what we're doing as well. Let's just, I guess, go around and introduce yourself, and we'll keep it, 30 seconds or so. Keisha, if you want to start.
Hi, I'm Lakeisha Mazer. I'm the business development for Legal Help, the number 4biz.com.
Awesome. Jeff. Oh, I don't know if Jeff is available. Matt, do you want to introduce?
Sorry, Jeff's here. My bad. Hey guys, it's Jeff Norskog, Director of Publishing at Mission Matters. So excited to be here. Love this topic. And yeah, nice to see everyone. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Matt.
Hi, everybody. Matt Cook here, Director of Agency at Mission Matters, and handle all things podcast at Mission Matters. So looking forward to this topic.
Awesome. Jacque.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jacque Lee. I'm the CEO of Silva Screen Printing, and I am looking forward to talking to you guys.
Fantastic. And Douglas, welcome.
Thanks, Adam. Douglas Brown here, CEO and co-founder at Halo Consulting, a certified minority-owned search firm based in Chicago. We bring the process-oriented best practices our team developed at top executive search firms with a risk-free, cost-effective fee model tailored for early-stage and high-growth startups for their most critical hires.
All right. So just to get this kicked off, so best biz development strategy you've come across. I feel like maybe, obviously, this isn't going to be segmented or anything, but whether it's digital, whether it's in person, online, it's free game. I'm just want to open it up. Anything, what are people doing right now? Like anything interesting that they've come across that's working for them or that they care to share? Let's just open it up to the floor.
I'll go ahead and kick it off, Adam. Again, Douglas Brown here. So again, CEO and co-founder at Halo Consulting. So from our inception of April of 2020, being in a very early stage startup, we kind of did the traditional kind of shotgun approach, using our CRM. And then, that got us a couple of quick wins in the very beginning, which was enough to, give us a couple of months of runway and kind of relief in terms of funding. What we have found that has really been the most effective up to this point is really our virtual roundtable events that we host on a monthly basis, which can be found on our YouTube channel, Halo Consulting, and that's where we invite a diverse set of executives to discuss trending topics in their industries. I think up to this point, we've hosted just under 20 virtual roundtable events, and we started hosting them at the end of October in 2020, really in the midst of the pandemic, to bring a greater sense of community to the DEI and HR space. So we've landed a couple of big clients, since we started hosting these virtual roundtable events in addition to the Halo series. And, from our perspective, we really don't do any cold reach outs up to this point. So really, we're very much referral based. Our motto here internally at Halo is execution is the best business development, which has held true up to this point. And yeah, I would say that's probably the best business development strategy that we've had, and open kind of hearing approaches from the group.
I'm curious, Douglas. So how do you go about figuring out who you want to invite to these roundtable events? Like, what's the strategy on that?
Yeah, so the approach really consists of, ideally, targeting folks that we would like to do business with. Sometimes it doesn't always work out like that, but the topics that we host are really centered around talent and diversity. So, for example, we have an upcoming event tomorrow from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central, and it's centered around proven strategies at scale for successful DEI programs. So we have a really, great group of panelists joining. I'll be the one moderating the event. And, ideally, we have some of those folks come back, as business development leads. And then, we do reach out to the individuals that attend the event to be able to, kind of gather their feedback for future events that we host. And then it's an opportunity for us to get introduced to them after the event.
Yeah, that's super interesting. What I like about it too is that you're creating content, right? So you're adding value at the same time, just around the topic and around the niche and what makes sense to you. That's really cool. And then you said I think you said about 20 so far, I believe.
Yeah, up to this point, wow. I think we have 17 or 18 posted on our
Congratulations. That's a lot of content. Good job. That's not easy. 20 events. Chirag is the one that does the events over here, and even putting these together, I know that's quite an undertaking.
Yeah, it's a lot of work that goes into it, but they're super rewarding. It helps, it helps us be looked upon as thought leaders in the space, and ideally, we're looking to create long-lasting relationships as well.
It's awesome. Who else? And everybody else can ask questions too. This isn't an interview. This is a round table, so anybody can jump in. I don't want to hog this.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely go next to avoid, and this is Lakeisha Mazer, Business Development Advisor for Legal Help for Biz.com. Also, podcast hostess of Business Basics on the Mission Matters Podcast Network. And this isn't released yet, but in order to avoid the shotgun approach of having your customers, you need to have some clarity on who your market is by creating a customer avatar, not to be confused with that re-release evidently that's going to be coming out. Okay. And the benefit of having that customer avatar, it makes an easy marketing plan for you, because once that's established, you can determine the market channel or market channels that you want to go after those people with. And that way your market dollars can be told where to go. And of course, you still need a marketing calendar, because there's different times of the year that you need to execute those things. And your overall benefit of this customer avatar is you've got this great data collection for retention, or if you need to scale your business.
So for this avatar, Lakeisha, I'm just curious, are you currently using one? Is that what I just want to make sure I understood correctly.
Yes. One of the things before you sell people or let people know what you have to offer is you kind of have to get inside their head. And the best way to do that is a customer avatar. So I have a core four products in my business. And for every product, I have an avatar. And from every avatar made, I'm able to have a one-page marketing plan that I can execute. The kind of basics, even if you Googled it, you could get, you want their age, you want their gender, marital status, if they've got some kids, if that's your product and service, their occupation, job title, annual income, and how this really comes to scale. Like, say you were trying to run a Facebook ads campaign. Well, because Facebook's is, they generate so much content because everybody gave them all their business, basically. If, for example, my customer avatar was like a middle-aged lady in her 30s, she had 2 kids, she drove a Volkswagen Beetle, it was yellow, and she liked peanut butter jelly sandwiches and drank pickle juice. And my goal was to sell her some kind of health supplement, which that's not my business, but I'm giving you an example. That's how I would run a Facebook ad for that, and that's just kind of like the basic stuff. But also there's what's her goals and values, challenges, pain points, what would be her objection to me offering her this supplement? What is her role in the purchase process if she was a business owner versus like a regular individual? So if you wanted to B2B market, this works in B2B market, it works in B2C market. And then the sources of information when they're doing their research, like, because that helps in when you're doing your marketing plan on what channel you want to reach. So if she spent all her time on Facebook, you would be like, okay, what kind of books does she like to read? What kind of magazines? Does she have certain websites? Does she attend conferences like Pickle Juices Unanimous? Like, is that her? Like, and you wanted to market there, like, hey, how do you get in touch with that association for those pickle juice drinkers? And then, like, who's her guru? Like, if there's this person that, they're all about that pickle juice, and if you add this nutritional powder, which in the sample I'm trying to offer her, that's where I would find all the client base like her. So you super niche it down. It's not just your basic age, gender, marital status, kids, and location. There's actually components of higher class detail, and it just makes your marketing budget so much better.
Yeah, I can definitely second that. So here at Halo, we have client personas, so similar to a customer avatar, and we have it broken down by prospective clients, broke in terms of like Series A through Series D, based on the amount of funding that they've received, if they are a B2B or a B2C type of business model. And that has helped us be more specific and target the type of, clients that, we'd like to work with.
So this is Jackie from Silva Screen Printing. First of all, I want to say I absolutely love this topic, and I thank you guys for just the creative approaches that you've mentioned so far. It is very far from the direction that Silva Screen Printing takes. We are a high-volume direct-to-retail screen printer, so we only service the B2B market, and our company's been around for 22 years now, and I've been in my role for more than 20 of that. What we have done has been a completely different approach to Biz-Dev. We've leveraged our relationships with our vendor base first and foremost to elevate ourselves to be experts in the industry in which they service. So, for example, the Hanes and the Fruit of the Loom of the world that supply wearable apparel, we spent a lot of money and a lot of time being involved in the research and development end. And so we offered up our facilities for testing and for new product development and spent a lot of time just massaging those relationships so that when it came time for them to sell this product into the market, we were front of the mind. And that's something, less immediately focused and more broad and general. In addition, we run a very transparent shop. So the thing that we do with our competitors, if we even consider them competitors, is we open our doors and let everybody kind of see behind the curtain and invite our competitors to come in, because there may be areas and aspects of our market, like was mentioned with kind of making this niche. We are able to produce things differently than our competitors can, even though we are all still producing apparel. And our processes are different. So some of our processes are more effective or more efficient. By inviting our competitors in and being a transparent company, we have allowed this free flow of business within our somewhat strange middleman market, so that most of our business that we are currently getting and acquiring in new business is either word of mouth referrals, organic referrals, or actually from people who don't want to do that type of business, but know from our expertise building that we've spent so many years doing that we are available to be a market for them. So there's this supportive world that we're kind of filling in the middle, which is very different than having to build out some sort of pipeline or funnel that some of you have mentioned. So it's very interesting to me to hear these different perspectives, and I really appreciate it.
I'm curious, Jackie. So you've built out essentially an ecosystem around it, and also sharing best practices. And I know your businesses, and I've seen the pictures. So very equipment heavy, very equipment laden. I mean, huge facilities, right? How do you manage and maintain? I think there's some lessons here, other than obviously for people that are maybe in service businesses or other things, where maybe they don't have that manufacturing let's just say that manufacturing difference where you have to have all this equipment and other things and these huge facilities. How do you maintain the community, like around the individuals that you like, that healthy community around the, I don't know, I think yours goes above the word referral partners, because you're doing much more than that. Like, you're sharing best practices, you're, pioneering things within your industry kind of openly, like open source. Like, how do you maintain a healthy community in that environment?
It's actually a very small environment, surprisingly enough, and what we have found is honesty. And I cannot stress this transparency thing enough. There's always, trade secrets, or we have NDAs that we sign with many of our customers. That's very, very common. But I also spend one day a week doing tours at our facility, and I do them myself. We've had groups of children come in, we've had school groups come in, we've had trade association groups come in, and I will talk them through the process of how a t-shirt is manufactured. And oftentimes those kids that I did this for, 15 years ago are now working in an industry. And when they think about t-shirts, they reflect back to these school trips that they took. And I think that honest transparency within a community that's not huge gives me a huge advantage that other people may not have. And to mention, our business practices when it comes to the manufacturing end, we've worked very hard at adapting domestic manufacturing to a sustainable level. And that has been through hard work and bad mistakes. We made a big one today for a customer where we dropped the ball on a project, and it's going to have a pretty significant hit to the pocketbook because we have to replace a bunch of product that we shouldn't have done because we skipped a step, and that happens all the time in our world. And because we have these relationships where we have been so honest and upfront and forthright with how we have chosen to do the manufacturing process, I made a phone call to this customer and said, hey, we screwed up. And immediately the wheels got in motion to fix this so their end user is not impacted. That only works if you have a community that is free-flowing information and sharing and also supportive. So I think that we are lucky in where we are, but we've also positioned ourselves well within that industry that there's just not a lot of us that are doing domestic manufacturing.
That's helpful. Thank you. What else? Who else?
I just wanted to compliment Jackie on her generational outreach because I know field trips make a difference for children. And so even just that one seed planted, it also grows the mindset that they too can become business owners.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I cannot tell you how fun it is to bring kids into our facility and, let everybody walk around the machinery and see a t-shirt being printed. It's so strange. I came from a background of graphic design, so the graphic world really inspires me. But watching these children's face light up when they get to see, we typically take like whatever their program is, if they're in a school or something, and we make a t-shirt for them. They get to see that happen live, and it's really inspiring to see. And I'm really proud of the fact that that's something that we can do. I'm not a great motivator when it comes to children, so that's one area that I think I can at least contribute because I speak to our industry really well, but outside of that world, I'm not a parent. So it's my one chance to kind of play a parent on TV and not have the same responsibilities. I enjoy doing it, and I think it's something that has a great value. Even if it didn't result in other business, it still has a value for our company. And I think that's important for our staff to sort of see how we choose to do business and how we choose to treat people that aren't our customers. I think that's important.
So in the current state with people going back to work and things changing, in-person work, online or in person, is anybody switching anything up or changing things up a bit, or what has anybody noticed it? And by the way, if you're not doing it, maybe you've noticed that somebody else is approaching you in this manner. Anything anybody's noticing out there interesting?
This is Jackie. I'll speak to it briefly. Well, we're doing a book. I'm not sure if you're aware of it or not, but there's this whole
I'm
Mission
aware of it.
Matters
I
thing
just
that we're
approved your
doing.
book. I just approved your final edit like yesterday, or a couple days ago, I should say, for yours.
Yeah, we're approaching some messaging differently than we've ever done before. We're actually reaching out in a slightly different manner because of the lack of traditional business operations. So we're trying to be a little more available to an online world. We're trying to approach a younger market through some messaging and try to just engage customers on a less face-to-face, approach, if that answers your question.
Yeah, and I can think back to just the idea of when everything was in person, like when I was in finance, like that's how we met people all in person. And now looking at this, ever since pandemic, I just know a lot of the people that I know that are still in the industry, like they went from that going back to in person. And it's interesting to see that change. But I guess here at Mission Matters, where we've been, other than maybe some of it as in person, like events and other things like that, but we're primarily virtual. And I don't think we're changing back from that for the most part. But what else is everybody noticing? Give me some more on this biz-dev. I know somebody's got some other things over here.
I do have something clever.
Give it to me. I know somebody's holding out.
This is actually, like, I guess I'll call it as a outreach tip, because we transitioned into going after like nonprofits with 10 or more employees that don't know about their employee retention tax credits. So I'm trying to generate some business for that. And one of the ways, other than like calling people, which that's its own beast, I couldn't get a hold of the person because their voicemail was full. And I love leaving a voicemail. I'm a stickler about it. And their voicemail was full. So I sent a text message, hey, your voicemail is full. Well, their website, cross-reference on the website, I noticed that they had a chat box and it's monitored. And so I typed in, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of such and such. I called them at this number, but their voicemail is full. Can you please contact me? And so the lady gives me a call back 15 minutes later, thanking me for telling me the voicemail was full. And she was quite impressed on how I reached her. She wasn't the decision maker, but she actually gave me the person who was the decision maker. And I was like, chat boxes for when you can't get a hold of nobody. If their website has it, that's cool.
That's a good one, Lakeisha. So, I don't know, what's everybody doing online? You mentioned Facebook, Lakeisha. I know we do some Facebook stuff. What's everybody doing in terms of advertising or digital? Anything else out there that's interesting?
I'll go ahead and hop on this one again. Douglas Brown here. So we, on top of hosting our virtual roundtable events in the Halo series, earlier this year at the end of April, we brought on our director of marketing and events, Brooke Byte. And Brooke, she previously came from Smith Buckland. Smith Buckland is a trade association organization that runs big trade shows. And bringing Brooke aboard, she came in and she really revamped our branding awareness. And what she has done up to this point is, number one, she's really kind of turned around our image and appearance on our YouTube channel. And we are involved with Instagram. We have a couple of TikTok videos out there today, and we're looking to continue to get more involved from a digital marketing perspective.
This is Jackie again from Silva. I am really impressed with the proactive effort Letitia made to get in touch through the chat box. That is kind of brilliant. I actively try not to talk to people. We do most of our communication through email and we have a process for contracts that go back and forth, and there's some documentable data processes that have to happen for some of the things that we do. And if I spend a lot of time chatting with people, sometimes that information is not as captured as it needs to be. So I try and be really careful with my paper trails. But what I have found is if I include a brief note or a, hey, did you know? Or in addition to offering this service, we also have X, Y, and Z service. Not sure if you're aware of it. Just a simple little message that gets through to the people that we're actually working with really gives us some low-hanging fruit on services that they may not know we offer or didn't know that were included in our complete offering. We don't do a great job of advertising all of the things that we do because we don't want to tell everybody all the things that we do. We try and keep some of our market very segmented, but if I have capacity available, or I know that there's somebody that is outsourcing similar services to other people, I'll just include a brief note or proactively give them just a, hey, here's some info sort of poke. And realistically, people don't need a lot to make those sorts of decisions if you've got a good relationship with them. So I'm going to stress again, this relationship building thing is the most valuable tool that we've had, because once they trust you and once they know that you're looking out for their business best interest, it's really easy to sell to them other add value items.
What about tools? Any tools that anybody's using out there? So we mentioned, I know Douglas mentioned, he's using obviously round tables, a lot of things on YouTube and otherwise. Any just tools in general that anybody's using that they find useful or helpful?
This is Jackie again. I can speak to the manufacturing end of this. In 2016, we did a big dive into the agile, lean, Six Sigma world of ways to maximize our efficiency in the manufacturing end, and some of those tools fit and some of them don't. The thing that we found that was actually the most useful was a really strange applied principle that we picked up from a research paper out of Germany. They had done some research on train transportation, and typically when you buy a train ticket from point A to point B, goes X number of kilometers, so it costs X amount of euros, and B to C is longer, so it's more expensive. And what they found when they did some research was A to B actually took longer than B to C, and so they changed their pricing model based on different criteria. We took some of the premise of those models and applied it to our process, which gave us a market disruptor in pricing models in 2016. We then applied a hybrid of lean and some agile parameters to become as efficient as we could be at that point, or what we thought was efficient. Those things you all learn and change and grow. But by using existing out-of-the-box models and taking the parts that worked for us and adapting things that were not necessarily in our industry but had applicable principles, we were able to then make ourselves a market disruptor by changing our capacity. That is not atypical to what anybody can do with tools that are out there, even some of these tools that are out-of-the-box tools. So, that was something that worked for us.
What about marketing? So, Douglas, any kind of things that you're doing specifically to, market your events or otherwise, like to, get people to attend and otherwise? Just curious about what kind of other tools people are using out there, whether it's just a traditional newsletter or like what kind of things everybody's up to.
Yeah, so from a marketing perspective for our virtual events, I think it's a 2 or 3 pronged approach today, and internally we use HubSpot as our CRM, and we just moved forward with the HubSpot marketing platform. So I know Brooke is really excited to kind of get her hands dirty with. But in the past, when publicizing our virtual events, we've used LinkedIn, other means of social media like Twitter, Instagram, and we have used some like campaigns or sequences to help promote the event. So those are the approaches that we've taken up to this point. Over the course, I'd say, the next 12 to 24 months, we are looking at starting a newsletter. We are looking at having like a sign up sheet or a sign up area where folks can register for our upcoming events to stay on the mailing list. So we are at this point trying to think of kind of more creative outside of the box ideas.
Oh, I love me some marketing. I mean, just today I built, because I had spoke with some person about the employee retention tax credit, and he's like, great, send me an email. And I'm like, okay, cool. So cut and paste the email, Google Docs, built the template in HubSpot. I love HubSpot. I actually attended their Inbound 22 virtually, like earlier in the month. And so after I built the template, I learned that I could like embed the little glance versus dealing with the links, because sometimes those links get sent to spam. And when I tested it to send to myself, I learned that, oh, I can't verify this address because I have a professional email address, which I use Google Mail to send, even though it's through my Gmail. And it told me that they couldn't verify the sender. So if you're going to do email marketing, you need to make sure that your DKIM, which is domain keys or identified mail, is set, which it's not too hard to do. And then also your SPF, not to be confused with the rays of the sun, but your sender policy framework is set. So now when people ask me for this wonderful template, I can send it to them and it's not going to land in their spam filter.
That's extremely helpful info. When from the inception of Halo, we did have an issue with emails going to the spam or junk folder or not reaching the recipient, and the DKIM and the SPF were things that we've looked into, but I do not come from a technical background, so it was very much over my head, but something that I might have to revisit again.
I know you love marketing, Lakeisha, so thanks for sharing that one.
Yeah, this stuff is super helpful. I really appreciate your guys' feedback on this because it is so far from what I am used to dealing with. So it's really, really interesting.
What about follow-up? I'm just curious. So any best practices for follow-up and overall, like, that anybody's doing, like whether it's email or phone calls, or like tell me a little bit more about follow-up and how people are closing deals.
Okay, well, first and foremost, the fortune is in the follow-up. And if you're going to do your call, don't get off the call unless you set a meeting or some other actionable step, which is really another phone call. But in your marketing, you have to have different steps in your cadence. So if you send an email, you can't send an email again. You either have to call them or follow up some other kind of way. I mean, and direct mail works. I love that. I have a campaign where I do with postcards. 6x9 postcards, not anything too dinky, something big. The kicker is the election season. As far as that's concerned, that's like the only nuance with that. But I sent mine out before that. And then after that, I have this email campaign that says, hey, did you get my postcard? And I have an image of the postcard and then like a brief blurb of what the postcard said. And then a resend where it's trackable and clickable always. And that's another thing I love about HubSpot, because anything I send, it's trackable. So I know you opened it, and which is another way to know, because if they did open it, you can now call them because you know they opened their email. And then so you just follow up in different ways, never follow up in the same way. And text messaging to find out if you got my email, and then say, I sent it to this and that, which was funny because I had some urgent legal leads, meaning they needed services now. And I had didn't get a hold of them on the phone because I chickened out on the phone. Sometimes you just got to go for it because they need what I have. And they said they did. And I gave them the PDF. I emailed them the PDF. And I know 2 people that clicked on it. And then when I followed up like a week later, I'm like, I still know they got this pressing issue, that I sent them a text message. I'm like, hey, I sent you a text message. Did you still need legal services? And they were like, oh, yes, like exclamation mark. And then I was like, oh, cool. Before you call me and ask me questions, I sent this PDF, because people need to read. I'm training people to read to do business with me. I'm like, no. We want this to go streamly and smooth, because if I spend all my time on the phone with you, asking questions that you didn't read, we could have already gotten you registered at that point, and I could have already been just coaching you on what to say to the attorney to get the best service for you. So yeah, that would be where I go with that. Your sales cadence, you can't follow up in the same way that you started out with.
I would like to piggyback on something that Letitia said too. Again, this is Jackie from Silva. We get most of our work from referrals. So I think it's really important to follow up with whoever it was that referred this business. They were nice enough to offer some suggestion for somebody else to use our business. I think it's only fair and respectful to repay that favor. So there's a process that we have where, a business referral that comes from a vendor, something like that, then we work hard to make sure that vendor knows that they're appreciated and those continue. There's communication that we do, but they're also invited to our shop for these open houses that we do, or when we have these customer events, to have a vendor there that can have a booth or have a table and see our customers come through so they can gain business is a really nice way for us to do the back and forth kind of relationship building. So I think that's important. The follow-up is 100% key.
Lakeisha, something that you mentioned about sending like materials and things for people to read and to like marketing materials in advance. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I'm just curious about what kind of things you send.
Well, when I send them marketing materials, these are leads that I literally know their situation. So when they fill out their form and I'm notified, I tailor my exact email message to their very specific situation. And I let them know this solution will immediately solve your situation and there's longevity, meaning you should really keep it. I'm enclosing this PDF for you to review. That way, if you have any questions or concern, I'm only a call or a text away because the PDF answers their question. There is just something precise about, I've already sent you this information and I really do expect you to look at it. I want to help you, but I need you to help yourself first. The ball is back in your court. You've reached out to me. I already told you it can fix your situation. I don't say it like that. I say it more professional. But in my mindset, you have to teach them. I know their email doesn't read like that, either. But it's like, it's going to answer everything you're going to ask me because it's a serious situation. These people they have legal urgency, which is totally different from my other client base where it's all about preventive. I already know it's urgent for them to fix it. Especially with like a lot of child custody cases, like that's urgent. Like that's not. So yes, I do expect them to read it because they need to know exactly how it's going to help their situation. And if there was something that it did not say, then go ahead and let me know. And the PDF also has my contact information, just like my email. But clients have to be trained. They do. People like to be told what to do. They don't like to be told in a bossy way,
What about in your process, Douglas? I'm curious, like what kind of things do you normally, how do you educate your clients?
So how do we educate our clients? Well, I think it really starts with highlighting our expertise and specialties from a recruiting perspective, which consists of go-to-market, HR, and product roles at the emerging leader level and above, and then just having a strong rep list to be able to back, what we've done up to that point to show, that we have experience in, recruiting these type of roles. Again, at the inception of Halo, it was, we were at a point where we were working on everything and we were taking everything on. And now we're at a point, 2.5 years in where we have the ability to say no to some work that comes in. And, an example would be, one of our clients based on the West Coast, they had reached out asking if we could assist with a senior accountant on contract. And, in 2020 and 2021, in our first and second year of Halo, that's something that we might have taken on, but now we're at a point where, we have the ability to turn down the work that we don't want to work on.
So what else? Anything else that anybody else wants to get out there? Biz-Dev strategies, marketing, or otherwise that they're seeing or that they care to comment on? I think we got a lot out of this today, though. A bunch of different ideas, perspectives. Anything else? Anybody else wants to kind of comment or share?
I'm going to throw the joke in of when I saw the topic, I was like, BIZ-DEV. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, business development. Because when I use the word, I spell the whole word out. Or if they're like, what are you? I'm like, oh, I'm a BDA. And they're like, what the heck is that? I'm like, business development advisor. So now that I see that I can shorten it and it looks cool, I think I'll do that. So thank you.
You can blame Twitter for that one. Twitter limits you on the character count, so you have to use abbreviations.
All good. Any other last words or anything else anybody else has that they want to say before we let Chirag wrap it up?
Yeah, if I could just say something. Go ahead, Jackie.
Sorry, I apologize, Douglas. I just wanted to say I really appreciate the fact that the feedback is always so honest and open in these things, because I learn every time I listen to one of these, and I think that is a value of this that is highly, highly valuable. So thank you guys for being so willing to share, because it makes my brain spin, and it gives me great ideas that I wouldn't have thought of. So I really appreciate the feedback from everybody.
Yeah, vein is Jackie, very similar, very educational and informative, and it has the gears turning for a couple of different things from a marketing perspective that we might be able to implement. So really appreciate everyone's time, and it was a pleasure to join.
Awesome, thank you, and thank you everybody for showing up, of course. And Chirag, I'll let you do the sign off.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining. These conversations and dialogues are always very fun. We love bringing in all of our community together and sharing best practices, sharing insights, different ways that, we can market and grow our different businesses. So with that, thank you everyone for tuning in. We're going to be hosting another dialogue the following week. And so with that, it'll take place September 29th. Again, same time. Next week's topic is, if you were starting a business all over again, what would you do differently? So it's almost like, if you could press the refresh button, start your business again, I'm sure there's a lot of ways that, we would all grow, all the milestones that we've hit. How do you hit it more efficiently or optimally? And also, how do you avoid all the landmines along the way, right? And growing. And so there's going to be a lot of great information coming in there. Aside from that, thank you all. I hope you all enjoy your evening, and please tune in next week, and would love to have all of you back once again.
Awesome. Thank you, Chirag. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.